Hello, this is Michael Crowd with Idea Dudes, and we're going to talk about managing software with group policy software. Welcome to the presentation. If you have any questions or comments, put them in a GoGo box at the bottom of the video. Let's get started. So, in this module, we're going to be looking at understanding software deployment using GPOs, group policy objects. Because what we can do is we can control how software is being installed within our environment by connecting to our domain, our OU, or our site, and we're using GPOs, group policy. Remember, you can do it through the computer configuration and also user configuration. So we're going to look at the Windows Installer Package, software deployment, configuring software deployment, the software lifecycle, slow link deployment, and we have some lab exercises. So just sit back and enjoy the presentation. Let's get into the material. So when we look at software installation, we can do it through a GPO. And group policy software installation characteristics include applications that they need to do their jobs no matter which computer that they log on to. Also, computers have required applications. So what we want is we want to provide the user with the tools that they need. So for example, if they need Word, and Word is not on the actual machine. Well, what we can do is we can make it so that we have Word there for every user, or we can also do it by the user options. We can make it so that it's published, which means that it's going to be available through like a extension, a doc or an XLS. And then what it'll do is it'll go ahead and install that software. So it'll be on the fly. So what we have to do is we have to create a software distribution point, and then the individuals will, or the group policy, the client-side extensions will go ahead and grab that software and install it based on the MSI. So applications can be updated also. We can make it so that the software is resilient. Because the MSI, all this is a database. It's pointing to all of our registry entries and where the software is actually located. And so when we have a problem like with Office or whatever and we need to reinstall, we don't have to look for the actual files because all the files will be there, all the binaries that we need. So the Windows Installer Package is an MSI. Like I said, it's a database which keeps track of the program settings. Provides resilience of applications like Office, for example. MSU is the extension that is used for Windows Server 2008, Windows Vista, and Windows 7. Now the MSI is used for previous versions of the operating system, but the new MSU is the extension that's used with the newer operating systems. The MST is a transform file, and what this allows us to do is allows us to be able to make a decision on what parts of the program that we want to install, like Office. We'll create an MST and we'll say, okay, well, I want Excel, I want PowerPoint, but I don't want Word, or I don't want Access, or I don't want MapPoint. I mean, any other different utilities that are in Office. So we can customize the application. And then an MSP is used to update an existing MSI file. Security updates, bug fixes, and service packs. So when we're talking about the Windows Installer Packages, this is what we're talking about, the MSI and MSUs. And so when we look at software deployment options, there's different options that we do have. Computers we can assign, make it available to all the users to use. Publish, make available based on an extension, make available through programs and features for install, not automatically installed on the machine. This is actually on the user, not the computer. The user publish, same as the computer. And we can also assign to the user also. Assigning to the user means that it's going to be available to every user that is on the computer. Now the software distribution point is the location where the applications will be installed from. And this needs to be a UNC, the Universal Naming Convention. So it's whack, the server name, whack, the share name. Creating a software deployment GPO for the computer, we have the general, which would have a default package location, which you do whack, and you put in the actual, you put in the server name and the share name. And so we can browse to that, or we can just put the information in. Now you got to understand that when you're working with a computer, you can only assign, you cannot publish. So if you get a question where it says that you're trying to publish the application to a computer, no, you can't do that. The only thing you can do is assign it. We have the Advanced tab, which you can uninstall the application when it falls out of scope of the management. What does that mean? Well, you decide that the application that you have out there, you want to pull it off. So what you can do is you can take and delete the GPO, and what will happen is when you have this unchecked, it's going to take those applications off. Also, 32-bit applications in 64, we can make a determination if we want to be able to do that. And we can also use a down-level zap application to make it so that we can make modifications. Then we have the file extensions, such as when we're dealing with Word, we'll have doc, or we'll have XLS, or whatever it is. So this is really, when we're dealing with the file extensions, this is going to be what we're going to be doing on the user, not on a computer, because the computer, it's already assigned, where this deals with publication, so publishing the application. And then we have the category, and underneath the category you can see that we created one called Utilities, and I can create one called Office. And what this is this is what shows up in the add and remove programs, or add programs and features that we have in Windows 2008 and Windows Vista and Windows 7. So you can see we're now in the, we have the actual package, which is a Network Monitor 3.1 properties, and we're looking at creating the, so we have the name of the application, there's a version, you can see that the language, the platform, and we can also have a URL for support. The deployment, you can see it's going to be assigned, not published, assigned, because it's on a computer, and uninstall the application when it falls out of scope. You can see that if we had this checked, then we wouldn't be able to make a change to this. But because we had it unchecked, we can make a change to it. Auto install the application by its extension activation. Well, because we're not dealing with a published application because we're on a computer, this wouldn't apply. So upgrades, this is where we can add additional upgrades to the package. The categories, you can see that we have it under Utilities because we're putting Microsoft Network Monitor 3.1 onto the actual server, or onto the actual client. Then modifications, this is where we would say the MST, and we'd be able to add in if we had any modification packages available. And then security, we have to give the person the ability of reading and special permissions, because they need to be able to read the GPO. If they can't, then they won't be able to make any, the GPO won't apply. So software deployment using GPO for the user, pretty much the same thing. We got the default package location, but this time you can see that we have publish, and we also have assign. Now if you publish an application for a user, then what's happening is it's going to be presented by the extension. So if you see a doc file and say Word hasn't been installed yet, well, when you do a double click on the doc, it's going to go out to the package distribution, or the software distribution point. It's going to pull that package down. And assign means that it's going to be available to all the users. Then we have in our advanced section also, again, application when they fall out of scope of the management. File extensions, this would be doc or XLS or whatever it is for like Office. Categories, you can see that we're doing Utilities because we're going to be doing the Network Monitor. So the Network Monitor is going to be assigned to the user, so it's available for all the users. And here's the Network Monitor 3.1 deployment. We're going to publish it actually, and so this will be available through the programs and features on Windows Server 2008 or on Windows Vista or Windows 7. Assigned means that it's going to be available to all the users. And then you can see auto install the application by the extension activation. If there was an extension that was connected to the actual Network Monitor, then we'd be able to double click on that and would install the application from the software distribution point. Upgrades, this is where we'd add the upgrades, required upgrades for existing packages. If we require it, then what's going to happen is this the upgrade will be applied, and the user won't have a chance to make a decision if they want to use the software or not, the upgrade. It's going to be there. They're going to be forced to use it. Now, if you have it unchecked, then what they'll have the ability of doing is making a determination if they want to use the new one or they want to use the upgrade. Then here's our categories, which are going to be utilities, which we selected a utility. And then our modifications. We can add in the modifications to it, and there's our security tab, same as what we talked about before with the computer. So managing scope, we have security filtering, and what we can do is we can group the actual security. So what we're talking about here is we can take like authenticated users and say, well, we don't want all authenticated users to be able to attach to this package. So we have the ability of filtering out based on a group. So security group filtering, and also WMI. So if the package is going to require so much space on a hard drive, we can check to see to make sure the space is there. We can also look at the operating system version and so forth. Now, once a package has been installed, the computer will not attempt to reinstall at each group policy refresh. You can force a reinstallation, redeploy the package. You just do a right click and redeploy. Upgrade, create a package, then add to an existing package. So the upgrade decision, like I said before, what we do is we add in what is going to be the upgrade. And then we can make a determination if we're going to require it, or we can allow them to be able to use the same package until they deemed as they don't need it anymore. And you can see the current, choose a package from the current GPO, specific GPO. You can uninstall the existing package, then install the upgrade, or the package can upgrade over the existing package. Now, one of the things that you have to worry about or think about when you're doing client-side extensions like the group policy software installation is slow links. The slow link means that we can set it so that if it's under 500 kilobits per second, then what's going to happen is it's not going to apply the client-side extensions or the GPSI. So group policy software installation does not process over a slow link. If the slow link detection is on, the GPO process will bypass the software installation settings, so it won't do it. And you can change the slow link speed to convince the CSE to process the software installation. So we can make it so instead of 500 kilobits per second, we can say 384 or whatever we want, and make it so it does go across those slow links. Removing a package, there's two options. You can immediately uninstall the software from the users and computers. So what we'll do is we'll say, okay, we want to get rid of this, so we're going to uninstall it. Or we can allow users to continue to use the software but prevent new installations. And so what will happen is they'll still be able to use it, but if anybody else tries to get that package, or a computer sees the GPO, pulls the GPO, and tries to pull it down, they won't be able to install the package. Immediate uninstall is known as a forced removal. It causes the computer to remove the application. Software is deployed by the computer configuration. It will be removed with the next computer restart. Software is deployed by the user configuration. It will be removed with the next time the user logs off. So next time the user logs off, then the software will be taken out. Allow users to continue to use. This is known as an optional removal. And this causes software installation extensions to avoid adding the package to the system without it. Computers that previously had it installed can continue to allow users to use the software. So you have the two options immediately, or you can do it as allowing them to be able to keep using it. So you got to practice. Practice 1, or exercise 1, create a software deployment GPO. Exercise 2 is upgrade an application. This is going to be 60 minutes. Go ahead and make sure you do this. Have fun with it. Understand how GPSI and how you can work with it and make your lower your total cost of ownership when you have to install and configure software within your environment. Do you have questions? Use the question comment box. Thanks for joining us.